All right, let's talk about IELTS Writing Task 1. You know that feeling, right? You're staring at a chart and your mind just goes blank? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. Most students actually get this task wrong. But what if I told you the secret to a high score has almost nothing to do with the numbers themselves? Sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, let's dive in. This right here, this is the whole game. This one idea is the biggest key to unlocking your high score. So many people fall into the trap of thinking their job is to just list every single data point they see. But the real secret, it isn't about describing everything. It's about finding what really matters, the main story, and showing the examiner that you see it. It's about seeing the story behind the numbers. So if it's not about listing numbers, then what on earth is it about? What do the examiners actually want from you? Well, to figure that out, we're going to go straight to the source and look at the official instructions. Believe it or not, this one sentence contains the entire secret to success. Just look at the key verbs here: summarize, selecting, main features, and make comparisons. Now, what word do you not see? Right, it doesn't say list all the data points. Your whole strategy is hiding right here, in plain sight. And this makes it super clear. On the left, you've got all the common mistakes: trying to list every single number, giving your personal opinion, guessing why something happened. The examiners do not want any of that. But on the right, that's the gold. They want you to find the overall trends, point out the biggest differences, and make smart comparisons. Your job is to be a data reporter, plain and simple. And that brings us to the most common score-killing mistake I see students make all the time. It's all about making that mental shift from just describing what you see to truly analyzing it. I mean, just look at this. It's night and day, right? The first one is so mechanical. An examiner reads that and thinks, okay, this person can read, but they don't understand. But the high-scoring version, it shows real thinking. It identifies the pattern, the steady increase, and that is what earns top marks. So here's the crucial takeaway. The numbers are just your evidence. They're your proof. The main message is the trend, the comparison, the big picture. Think of yourself like a detective. You use the numbers as clues to support your main conclusion. This one shift in perspective will change everything for you. Okay, so understanding the mindset is great. But how do you actually organize your writing on test day? Well, luckily, there is a proven, high-scoring structure that works pretty much every single time. Let's take a look at the blueprint. Here it is. We call it the golden structure, and for good reason. It's a super simple 4-paragraph plan. You start with an introduction, where you just paraphrase the question. Then comes the most important part, the overview, where you state the main trends without any numbers. And finally, you have 2 detailed paragraphs, where you use specific data to back up the points you just made. Okay, I really can't stress this enough. Your second paragraph, the overview, is the single most important part of your entire response. A strong, clear overview can be the difference between a band 6 and a band 7, or even higher. If your overview is missing or it's weak, your final score is basically capped. It's that critical. So, what goes into this magical paragraph? Just think of it as answering the big questions. Overall, did things go up, down, or stay about the same? Which category was the highest or lowest? Were there any huge dramatic changes? And remember the golden rule. You answer these questions without using any specific numbers. It's the 30,000-foot view of the data. Now, once you've really mastered that golden structure, you can start adding some extra flair, the techniques that push your score into those top bands. This is how we go from good to great and really impress the examiner. Let's start with vocabulary. And listen, you don't need dozens of fancy words. You just need the right words. This table shows you the core language for the four main types of movement you'll see. Mastering words like fluctuate or remain stable is way more important than trying to use a complex word you're not sure about. Remember, accuracy over variety every single time. Which brings us back to the big question, right? The numbers. We know not to just list all of them. So when and how do you actually use them? How do you use them strategically to get the maximum impact? Well, the answer is pretty simple. You use numbers when they have a purpose. They've got three main jobs: to directly compare two things, to highlight a really big change, or to give concrete evidence for a trend you're describing. So instead of just listing data, you'd say something like, sales rose dramatically, increasing from 20% to 45% over the decade. See? It's precise and it supports your main point. And now for one final high-level skill. This is what really separates the good answers from the great ones. The absolute best responses don't just describe one line and then the next line and then the next. They group information logically. And that immediately signals to the examiner that you have strong analytical skills. So how does that work? Well, you could use one paragraph to talk about the highest performing categories and the next paragraph to talk about the lowest. Or you could group things that had a similar trend, say two categories that both increased, and talk about them together. You could even split your analysis by time. Using any of these strategies is a huge signal that you're thinking at a band 7+ level. So let's end on this core idea. IELTS Writing Task 1 is not a math test. It's a communication and analysis test. The examiners just want to see if you can look at a bunch of raw data and find the meaning, find the patterns, find the main story. So from now on, stop just describing numbers. Start explaining patterns, because that is the path to a high score, and that is your key to unlocking band 7 and beyond.